Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, folks. It is V, the Guerrilla Economist, coming to you live on this edition of Rogue ESW. ESW Rogue, baby. Exit Strategy World, ESW Rogue. And I got my main man, ALGO Cowboy, flying with me today. He's working the airwaves, making sure the broadcast is coming out crispy and clean. You can find us at roguenews.com. Follow us on Twitter, ESW Rogue News. And wherever you want us to be, plus a bag of chips on every single platform, we are broadcasting live, folks, daily, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that being said, Cowboy, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Stellar. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I can't complain. I mean, it's one of those things I could complain, but who the hell is going to listen, right? So,
yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I got a couple appetizers if you want to jump into some fun stuff before the main content.
Yeah, let's do that.
Now, this who's this guy? Don't mess with the Zohran.
Don't mess with the Zohran. Yes.
The Zoran now. This guy, isn't he the Zoran okay, so for those of you who are living under a rock or not watching our show, they've got this cardboard cutout. I think he's a multimillionaire socialist, which really should not be a thing. So this guy is some rich kid, and he's probably well funded by, whatever cabal you want to, point at, or Rothschilds or Soros or, the little hats. I don't know, whatever you think. And so whatever the case may be, they want to make this guy like the mayor of New York. Honestly, like if I know anything about Wall Street, I've only been to New York 3 times. I love the place. I really do.
There's nothing like Manhattan, man. Nothing
like
Manhattan.
Dude. Oh, no, dude.
Phenomenal. There's more French restaurants in Manhattan than there is in like Paris, bro.
And they're probably better too.
Way better.
Yeah. So now I'm going to play a video of this tool. And this is the madness of this guy. First of all, when we talk about this, I'm going to start putting this up here on the screen right now. Talk about a guy who knows nothing about economics, but you know what? He's a socialist. That should not surprise us. He's probably a hyper-capitalist is what he really is. He's probably, or at least the people who are running him are probably hyper-capitalists. Right. And they're just using socialism and communism as a wrecking ball to take down our great culture and economy here in this country, or what's left of it anyway. Let's listen to this asshole.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost of eggs and milk has skyrocketed. Some stores are even using dynamic pricing, jacking up the cost over the course of a day, depending on what they can get away with. It doesn't need to be this way. I'm Zahran Mamdani, and as mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. It's like a public option. For produce.
Okay. First of all, do you want the same people who run the Southern District Courts to be in charge of anything?
No.
Nothing against. I know. Look, don't at me here. I know stuff needs to go how it goes in Manhattan, but you don't want the government in charge of the stores. Do you think the prices are high now? Speaking of that, you know what? I'm just going to end it. I can't listen to this guy. I'm going to say this is if Wall Street has any balls left, they wouldn't put this guy in charge of a mop at a bodega.
No. Right.
Much less anything else in the city. Exactly. I mean, what do you think? You think this guy even has a chance, or Wall Street?
No, I think he's a distraction. I don't think this kid has a chance. I think this kid's going to be taken out. There's no doubt about it, because look how fast he's already coming apart. The only people that are voting for them are dumb, stupid white kids who are white, whose parents are a bunch of, leftard, old, fucking red diaper doper babies, as Savage would say. These are like the children and byproduct of boomer hippies. That's who these kids are. That's who put Zahran Mamdani up there. He's a nobody, right? He has no formal education in any of the fields that he's espousing. He has no fucking clue of how economics works. He has no clue of how anything works. He's an idiot. He's a social worker. He's a nobody. You know what I'm saying? So,
is that what he is? Is he a social worker now?
I don't know what he is, man. He's like a community organizer, social worker, this, that, and the other. He's like, it's always Obama. But the fact of the matter is like there's like real power and money backing Obama. There's nobody backing this guy. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I think this guy is going to be taken out. Nobody, the DSSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, the DSA, USA, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves this week. These guys are basically the extreme wing of the Democratic Party. They have no funding. They're nobodies. I think the Libertarian Party is way more powerful than these idiots, right? So this guy's running as a DSA socialist. Where, you can pull that crap off with the liberal white faction of Manhattan holding the entire state of New York hostage. It's between them and Albany that holds New York hostage. But dude, Wall Street don't want this guy. Nobody wants this guy, right? And it just shows that how insane it is, like how stupid, low IQ, dumbass idiots we have living in this country. That this is why people need to have the entire educational system in America needs to be done away with. People need to have a basic understanding of how capitalism works, how money works, how markets work. Then you'd laugh at an idiot like Mamdani. It was a moron, right? So this guy's talking about, he's defending his idea of a socialist grocery stores. And he says he can pay for them by cutting city subsidies to corporate grocery stores. That's the stupidest thing in the world. Right? Corporate grocery stores, they work on a 1% to 3% margin.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. And the whole thing is based on a misunderstanding of how the current subsidies are working for grocery stores that are in the city, right? He's like, he's going to have this. He's going to use that to pay for city-owned grocery stores where you buy and sell at wholesale. There's no profit motive. That doesn't work, man. It doesn't work anywhere, all right? What is it, Soviet Union, right? This idiot believes, he's such a moron, he believes that the city's spending $140 million to subsidize private grocery stores, and he thinks that he can take a good chunk of that, right, a huge chunk of that money, and then start building out like city-owned grocery stores, right? This is what he's talking about. He's like, we're going to redirect funds from corporate city supermarkets and city-owned grocery stores. We're going to lower prices, not price gouging. It's so stupid what he says in this video. And he also goes on to say, how are we going to pay for the people push him. How are you going to pay for this? He has no clue. He has no idea, what it's talking about. And he's like, we're going to put 5 of these grocery stores in there. Okay? 5 of these grocery stores. And what would that cost? He pulls the numbers out of his butt. $60 million, $70 million. $60 to $70 million is going to for 5 grocery stores? What the hell?
That won't even cover the real estate. That won't even cover the rent.
Right.
Like for not very long.
Yeah. The city already has a program that this idiot Zombie Mamdani doesn't realize is the dumb brain dead socialist idiot who pretends to be a third world poor rejected person. He's living in a $2 million apartment. Limousine socialist, bro, right? Millionaire socialist, right? The city already has a program called City Fresh, right? And City Fresh, they're going to spend, they already spend $140 million on City Fresh, subsidizing corporate grocery store programs that feed the poor. It already exists, right? And there's not any grocery stores when you get outside of Manhattan. You go into some of the outer boroughs, like in the South Bronx and some really impoverished areas out in Brooklyn and whatnot. They don't have these grocery stores. They're all retreating. All you have left is the mom and pop bodegas. Yeah, the reason for that is the freaking crime rate is through the roof. Get the crime under control, but you can't do that because you got to defund the police. Who the hell wants to do business in a place like that, right? And it's the dumbest thing. And again, like I said, you have the Fresh program, right? And what that is like the Fresh program, which stands for Food Retail Expansion to Support Health. It's basically a bunch of tax breaks, right? And regulatory relief for grocery stores that open up in what I just described to you guys as known as food deserts, like areas in the city where in these cities where there's no food. There's only impoverished, crime-ridden areas, right? Poor neighborhoods where the city has concluded that residents don't have adequate access to produce and other healthy foods, right? So you're already subsidizing a program there. The subsidy includes tax breaks. So you have building taxes. You have various deductions and various breaks for land and whatnot that helps stores to set up in these impoverished areas so they can service those poor areas with produce and fresh meats and all that other stuff instead of McDonald's and ultra processed foods. That shit already exists. That already exists, and it doesn't cost. I mean, think about it, man. $60 million for 5 stores? That don't make no sense, bro. That don't make no sense. He's a grifter, folks.
He's a grifter.
He's a grifter.
That money is going to go, a good portion of it, into his and his friend's pocket.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what these people are. And anybody who runs on a far leftist deal, all they do is they want to manipulate the flow of money so they can take a chunk. And it's not that different to people who are, on other parts of the spectrum. But these people, they do it in a way that is meant to destroy what we have. At least the guys on the right, when they take their piece and they wet their beak, they want to keep the drug addict alive. The people on the left, they want to kill the drug addict so they can't sell them any more drugs. You know what I mean? Like on the right, it's like the drug dealer who, wants to keep his clients alive so his drugs are clean. That's, what I mean?
That's
Except the drugs is politics.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
well, that was a pretty good appetizer, but you had some pretty good stuff planned today. We got Diddy and we got the CIA and all that stuff. So why don't we jump into that?
Yeah, man, let's get into it, man. There's some news coming out, and we all kind of suspected this for the longest time. The cocaine import agency literally runs the modern hip hop rap game. And I think this was I have a video here pulled up which kind of explains it, and I'll get into
I've got a video too about this actually, but let's
see
what you got. No, on the do
Yeah.
yours first there.
Is it the one with the guy with the bald head talking?
Bald head.
No.
Well, he's got a cap on.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll play this video, then you play yours, and we'll rap about it. You and I.
Show me yours, show you mine.
Yeah, that's it, baby. You know how it works. All right. Cool. All right. No homo.
No homo.
Right. There we go.
I can't even tell you how hard the CIA runs the rap game. It's insane. The State Department just recently brought like 22 hip hop artists from all these different conflict zones. I can walk you through in Bangladesh how USAID was funding rap musicians, reporting back to the State Department about how the songs were designed to create street protests, producing their music videos.
You're talking about ones from other countries right now.
They were also working with USAID to secretly fund the hip hop movement in Cuba to overthrow the Cuban government through anti-government rap anthems, which is a huge USA. I can't even tell you how hard the
And
CIA
also,
runs
real
the
quick,
rap game.
is the fact, and that's just one aspect of it overseas, and even here.
Wait, I got the video for here if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Pull that up, man.
All right, let's do this. Because this is it's funny that you should do this because I saw this video like a year ago. And I was like, oh shit, we got to do a story on it. But this story is from the 90s. So we're taking it back. Let me get this one here. This is the one. This is Crazy Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh yeah,
Very talented guys. Now I couldn't find it on the Dom Luker, like Dom_LUCRE.
Yeah,
Check him out. He's good. And he covers a lot of this kind of thing. I can't find his version of this there, but this video, hopefully I showed the audio. Let's find out. Let me know if you don't hear any audio. I'll start over.
Companies we work for had
You got audio?
Yeah, we got audio.
invested millions. Companies we work for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who receive funding from the government based on the number of inmates.
Mm-hmm.
The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons.
Mm-hmm.
It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become solid investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies. And as employees, we'd also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us.
It goes, the story
No,
continues.
I remember the story. Yes, I remember the story very, very vividly.
Yeah, tell it, man.
So this was one of the guys when the group Bones Thugs and Harmony, they were invited to a private house, right? This private mansion out in LA. And this is the presentation that was given. Look, we got private prisons. The goal is to fund private prisons. So the shares of these prisons can be, there's a lot of profit in that. You could share the stock value of these prisons will be worth considerable. And again, they're financing or financializing the entire prison system. So they needed a music medium, right? And they knew that rock music was very limited, right? It doesn't have a global reach. It has you need something that can penetrate from Toronto to Tokyo. You need something that can go from Albuquerque to Algeria. You need something that can go from Boston to Djibouti. Okay, you need full coverage, baby, from Seoul to South Central. All right, and rock music just couldn't do that, but hip hop did. Okay, hip hop did. And so in order to do that, we know music is a powerful medium. We know that music can affect the subconscious. So when you're playing music that glorifies violence, that dehumanizes life itself, that atomizes everything to just a quick hit for wealth, a quick hit for sex, a quick hit for whatever dopamine hit you're going to get, you create yourself mindless zombies that have extremely low impulse control and no type of desire to better themselves. And that's what it is. It's poverty music. It's poverty music with the poverty mentality. That type of music was guaranteed to cause violence. Here's the first case of it. I'll tell you guys specifically a story. Give me 1 second. Let me take a sip of water. Back I believe in the 90s, when Tupac came out with his song "Cop Killer," right? There was an instance in South Central LA where a police officer pulled this young guy over, and without impulse, the guy just shot the cop dead. And he had "Cop Killer" blasting in his car when he did it. And when the judge asked him, why would you do it? Right after the whole court case, he goes, "Well, I don't know, man, but I just had "Cop Killer" in my head and I just blew the cop away." I'm sorry, yeah, "Cop Killer" was Ice-T. Thank you, Cool Cat. Sorry about that. "Cop Killer," that's right. Thanks. Gray Fox, Cool Cat, I apologize. Not Tupac, folks. My memory is getting bad these days. But
you got no cred.
Huh?
I was playing with you.
So Ice-T wrote "Cop Killer." So he said, "I had "Cop Killer" in my head." That shows you the power of this. That shows you the power. I remember growing up as a kid, before we did some illegal things, got into trouble, about to go on a robbery spree somewhere. I remember one of the things that, some of the compatriots would, some of the people that I used to hang out with, they would listen to, "Shook Ones" by Mobb Deep. They would listen to "Give Me the Loot" by Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls, right? It gets them into a state of mind, right? And we see the result of it. And you got, with the power of hip hop, you got white kids, black kids, Hispanic kids, Asian kids. It don't matter the kid, okay? It is global, right? It is global, right? I mean, that's funny. MK Toe said it best. And then Ice Cube's he acts in Law and Order. The freaking irony. He plays a cop in Law and Order.
Well, dude, I remember when hip hop hit the white kids in the suburbs because, that's, I mean,
Yeah.
shit, that's a definition of me.
Exactly.
And I remember like these are kids that are a lot older than myself. We're talking about the mid 80s. And Easy E came along over on the West Coast. That's what we got. We got Easy E, we got NWA, we got all that. And and then of course, they ease you into it with a little DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince and JJ Fad, and they kind of, and that's fine. I mean, that could have just been legitimate like rap good, or it's just hip hop R&B type music that didn't have any kind of aim at that. But at some point, they brought in this other thing. And I remember, I mean, dude, we all used to do bad stuff, like you rapping all the, smoke this and bang that, and
Yeah.
it definitely puts people in that state of mind. And obviously, they knew that. I was talking to my barber, and we were talking about music and the kind of art form that it is. And I am an artist. I've made music, made it for years. I've done, drawing, I've done sculpting, painting, you name it. I've done all the kind of different arts. And not that I'm that great at any of it. I've just done them all. And maybe I'm pretty good at music, whatever. So the point here is that the kind of emotion that music can elicit is probably stronger than any other art. And it's almost like a spell. I'd say the only comparison would be movies. Now, if you make, in the old days, if you make a magic wand, guess what wood it's supposed to be made out of?
Hollywood.
That's right. So music is a spell too. It's almost like whatever you're listening to, when those lyrics hit you along with whatever's behind it, that's like a prayer.
It
It
is.
might be an inverted, nasty prayer, but it's like a prayer. And there's music I've had to cut out of my life because of, I would listen to it, and like some guys are super talented and that's all great. And I love high talented players, but what's behind it was causing me to have something I didn't like, whether it's things happen or a mood or whatever. So it's, that's the music is like, it's insidious. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it absolutely is, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely is. And it's wild. I mean, a lot of people, whether you believe it or not, I mean, the occult believe in this stuff, and they attribute it to Lucifer being the head of or in charge of music in heaven, quote unquote. And he's still that fallen cherub. He's still that entity that has control over music. And you can't look, man, you can't study global events and things that are occurring with the elites. And if you've spent any amount of years researching this stuff, you're going to come away with understanding there is a reality of good and evil. There are demons. There are entities that are in another dimension that our senses cannot pick up, that are influencing human events. That is the only takeaway. And every smartest person, the smartest people out there have come to the same conclusion. You know what I'm saying? It's wild, folks. It's wild.
Yeah, you might not believe in the occult, but the occultists believe in you, and they believe in it.
100%.
And they run the world. So whether or not you think astrology or whatever else, whether or not you think that's real or just a bunch of hogwash, it kind of doesn't matter, because the people who run the game are going to operate based on those things.
Yeah. And here's the thing, man. It's like there are so many, like, again, spells, not only in the music itself, but I remember they used to pull these put these spell stuff and these weird incantations on the CD covers and stuff like that. On the back of the covers, you'd read it and it doesn't make any sense. But if you read it from the eye nowadays, you go back and you read those things from the eye of understanding where this is coming from, the occult power behind it, it all makes sense. It all makes sense, man. It's unbelievable.
Well, there's a band that's very talented, and what's really odd about them is, like, okay, so if you look into occult and Kabbalah and all that stuff, like, if you were to follow it strictly, it's, not necessarily evil, but the occultists, they always invert everything. That's why you have upside down crosses.
Yeah.
There's the tree of life and all that, and they'll invert that to make it basically like the tree of death, if you will. I mean, I don't think they call it that. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I know of a really talented band, and on the inside of one of their covers, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, that's the tree of life, but it was tipped sideways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so there's it's, the whole subject is a very deep subject. And if you want to know how they think, then you got to understand that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And now, shock beyond shock beyond shock, just as Epstein conveniently killed himself in prison, folks. After all, Don Bongino told us that he saw the video. Meanwhile, the video cameras weren't working, supposedly we were told. But Epstein did. You guys can rest at ease. Cowboy, you can just relax, okay? Epstein did kill himself, okay? The camera's not working and the prison guard's falling asleep. Yeah, that happens, man. But somehow they have the video, and Epstein absolutely, okay, killed himself, brother. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think Epstein was a distraction to begin with. Veles said it
100%.
just yesterday. I think he said it like, "Oh, look, naked ladies. Like, they don't want you to know the real
No.
Epstein stuff."
Correct.
So I liken the Epstein thing, and I don't know. I don't want to say this because I might be taking what you're going to say. So you go ahead, and I'll say my piece afterwards.
Well, and just like hot on the heels of Epstein, who conveniently committed suicide, if you believe that BS, I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. It looks like Diddy's gonna walk, bro. Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs
Mm-hmm.
could be walking very shortly. After nearly 2 months of daily court appearances in his hometown of New York City, Sean Diddy Combs is facing a split verdict, acquitted on the top charges and convicted of a lesser sex crime charges. So the top charge, which is the whole RICO, the racketeering, the trafficking, all that stuff gets thrown out. Why is he in jail for, right? Right? If they're dismissing, look at that. On July 2nd, a 12-person jury delivered a bombshell split decision in Combs' case, which started May 5th in Manhattan Federal Court. Jurors found Combs guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but acquitted him on the top charge of racketeering and both sex trafficking counts. Combs, who was charged with 2 counts of sex trafficking, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, and 1 count of racketeering for leading what prosecutors alleged was a criminal organization over the course of 2 decades, has long maintained his innocence. He previously pleaded not guilty to all charges. Combs has been incarcerated at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center since he was arrested September 16th. Prosecutor Maureen Comey, that's related to James Comey, opposed the defense's request for Combs to be released immediately following the verdict. There is serious conduct here that will mandate a lengthy period of incarceration, she said. Combs' trial is almost the most noteworthy of the Me Too era, following explosive charges against disgraced Hollywood producer, fish penis Harvey Weinstein, R&B singer R. Kelly, A-list actors Spacey and Johnny Depp. The case of Combs is particularly challenging, wading into the murky gray areas of consent and coercion, complex workplace dynamics, and the myriad of ways that people cope with trauma. Combs faced a maximum sentence of life in prison for the racketeering charge. Sex trafficking has a 15-year mandatory minimum and maximum of life in prison. Transportation to engage in prostitution carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Combs' verdict comes 1.5 years after allegations of sexual assault and trafficking started mounting against the embattled music mogul following the bombshell lawsuit of his former girlfriend of a decade, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, over alleged trafficking, sexual assault, and abuse. The two amicably settled a lawsuit one day after for $20 million, but his team has claimed her legal action kicked off the criminal investigation into the Bad Boy Records founder alleged behavior. Federal prosecutors claim that Combs is a led a criminal enterprise operated on sex trafficking, kidnapping, drug offenses, forced labor, among other crimes. And I'll tell you right now, irrespective of what the rest of this article says from USA Today, this guy is going to walk. And Cowboy, you and I know why he's going to walk. We know that this guy is connected to too many powerful people. And we know that those too many powerful people will not sit idly by and allow this guy to squeal. Not going to happen. Folks, we have a 2-tier justice system. Justice for thee, but not for me. Justice for me, but not for thee. Or whatever the hell it is, right? It's 2 separate, completely separate, system. And we're witnessing it, folks. We're seeing it being played out in real time. This guy's not going to walk. He's too valuable. He is the music equivalent, the entertainment. See, Epstein's main focus was blackmailing high finance. Diddy is blackmailing entertainment. Entertainment and finance is what you need to brainwash people here in the United States. Do you see the pattern? Epstein went after high finance. He went after politicians and power, right? He wanted to get things going. Diddy was all about getting the Hollywood elites, getting them in control, getting the entertainment industry to be compromised than it already is. But for who? Well, maybe it's the same people that are funding all these rappers around the world in foreign countries. Maybe it's the same group of people who spends money on color revolutions. Maybe it's the same people that are known as the cocaine import agency.
The Inuit. I knew it.
That's right.
The Eskimos. I freaking knew it.
Yep, that's who they are, man. It's an Eskimo. We all know Eskimos control the world. We know that. Absolutely. But yeah, man, that's what's it's wild. It's absolutely wild. What's your take, brother?
Well, right there with you. I mean, I don't have much to add to that. All I can say is when you control the Hollywood industry, then you are controlling entertainment, figureheads, and you're controlling people that young people idolize. And what did, I don't know if it was Trotsky, might have been Lenin, give us your children, and in 10 years or 20 years, I'll give you an army.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, yeah, this kind of stuff, I was thinking as you were telling this story, like what kind of mentality does it take for somebody to be willing to do these things, right? Like how could somebody be so twisted? And I thought about it, and actually, when you get somebody young enough, and especially if they come from a certain environment, making money, that's people will sacrifice a lot of integrity to make some money, and slowly but surely they're turned. It's not like they got, Diddy at 18 years old and said, "Hey, you want to run a, international star blackmail ring?" Like, I mean, maybe they did, but chances are they just got him in the industry to make a little money, and then they maybe got a little dirt on him, and then they slowly had him do something small, and so it's not, I mean, yes, I'm judging him. Maybe it's not for me to judge. I don't know if you go biblically, judging is not for me to do. Long story short.
No, you could judge righteously, brother. When you see a criminal, you call a criminal for what a criminal is. A deviant, satanic individual like Diddy. Absolutely. You judge them and you put them away. And that's why you have a what's supposed to be a real justice system, which we unfortunately don't have.
Yeah, well, there's another justice system, and I'm wondering if he's going to walk away from it.
Exactly. Of course he will. Of course he will.
Well, I mean,
rules for thee, but not for me. Rules.
Well, I mean,
for thee,
Epstein didn't walk away, did he?
Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of question about that. Was that even actually Epstein that died? That body that they pulled out, the ears don't match Epstein's whatsoever. The photography that was taken, the ears don't match any known picture of Epstein anywhere. Neither does the nose kind of line up either. So there's a lot of things to that, man. I don't think it was Epstein. Epstein could be on, he could be on another island somewhere. He could have reconstructive surgery on his face. Who knows?
Right.
They're just admitting that they just started to admit that the face mask from Mission Impossible is actually real. They actually have to acknowledge that. They just recently started admitting that. So who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, why not? We've seen some. I think in our smaller chat, you've posted some photos that are like, look at this. That looks like the guy's wearing a mask. And sure enough, like,
it sure does, brother.
How many times do we see, Biden up there? Surprisingly lucid.
Exactly.
Making very strange faces, by the way. Like his lips look all weird, and his arms talk like
his neck is kind of off. He's got these look like his neck is all weird and shit. Don't make
And
no
that
sense.
guy been talking like he's had marbles in his mouth for like 4 years already. You know,
Yeah.
if a mask is going to inhibit your ability to talk, it's probably just going to increase the illusion.
Correct. And all of a sudden he's cogent.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
One day he's walking and then he kind of stops to poop his pants, you know, in the rose garden. And then the next he's, you know, doing vector calculus. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
I think a decent amount of vector calculus professionals probably poop themselves occasionally, but you know, neither here nor there, right? So that's fun. So is that let me see. We got a good 20 minutes left if we want it. You got anything else going on?
No, that's about it, man. That's all I got to cover and say. And for those that don't know, Gus will be on soon, guys. We're going to get him back. He's just been busy working. He's got a lot of good things going on for himself, so he's been busy with that. And we will have Cuss with Gus back on Wednesdays. It's coming. Better believe it.
Nice. All right. Well, then give us that Guerrilla goodbye.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for listening in. We will be back tomorrow. Keep it locked and loaded right here. Rogue ESW Rogue, whatever the heck we're going to call ourselves, but we are working on it, and soon it's going to be pretty awesome. With that being said, we're over and out. Take it away, Cowboy.